Hi, friends. My name is Ben, and I'm from benribble.com Coaching, where we focus on three foundational pillars in our coaching program: leadership, productivity, and organization, to ensure that you can be successful in the workplace, but more importantly, successful in your life. Now, today, we're going to focus on organization. And let me ask you a question. Do you ever find yourself struggling to remember birthdays, anniversaries, or for those of you who are in leadership and management, annual reviews, or things that happen monthly or weekly? Well, stay tuned, because today I have a hack for you that's going to help you make that part of your life much simpler. Stay tuned. All right, so here we are in an online calendar. And now this one is Google Calendar. That is my pick. I prefer Google Calendar, but that doesn't mean that that's the only option out there for you. What you need in order to completely use this hack is for the calendar function to have two main functionalities. And number one, you need to be able to have a repeat function on it. And number two, it needs to have the ability to offer reminders of some nature. Okay, so whether that's an email or a pop-up or whatever, it needs to be able to send you reminders. So what we're talking about here today is using a tool, a hack if you will, to come up with some way to help us remember dates, repetitive dates. So let's say anniversaries or birthdays of your family or employees, or maybe it's annual reviews for your employees, or just maybe you need to have a report filed by the 15th of each month. Whatever it is, with this kind of a setup, we can set it once and forget it, right? Set it and forget it, like Ron Popeil used to say. All right, so right here, my calendar of choice is Google Calendar, and the easiest way to get to Google Calendar is just calendar.google.com. And as you can see, I have mine set on the weekly view. You can change that view right up here to whatever view you want. Easy navigation right over here on this left side here, where you can choose your month and your date quite easily. All right. The dark blue here is today's date, and then the light blue is any date that you're currently on. Now, of course, this is not going to be a full tutorial on Google Calendar. We can get into all of this later. But what I want to show you today is how easy it is to use a tool like this to make sure that you are not missing those repeating dates. So for this illustration, I'm just going to show you how I set up birthdays and anniversaries to easily remember and have notifications sent to me to remind me that those are coming up in case, let's say, I have to get a birthday present or an anniversary gift or something like that. But like I said, this can also be used in the business place for annual reviews. It can be set up for, monthly reports, weekly reports, whatever it is, you can set it up that way. And let me show you how I do this. Very first thing I do is I'm going to create a calendar specific to whatever I'm setting up, okay? Whether it's for work, whether it's for birthdays and anniversaries, like in this case we're going to do. Right? So you go over here on the left side. These are your active calendars. And by clicking on them with the little check marks, you can simply deactivate them. So whatever's on there, like let's say this first day of Women's Month here, we can just tick that and it goes away. So you can actually have a very clean view of whatever you want to see, any of your repeating tasks, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click on this plus, and we're going to add a calendar. And you just click on it and then you create new calendar. You're going to name your calendar whatever you want. In my case, I'm going to name it, let's say birthdays, and we'll just leave it as birthdays. And you really don't need to set up anything else unless you want to add a description. That's perfectly fine. You could say, birthdays of family and personal friends or whatever. If you want to maybe have another one for birthday of colleagues or birthday of employees or whatever. Just remember, you can always come back in and edit this. That's not a big deal. There's your time zone. That's just going to help with setting any reminders and appointments on that calendar. We're going to hit create calendar, and you'll notice that it says calendar creation in process, or progress, excuse me. And then it gives you the option to configure here. We don't really need to do any configuration at this point. Our calendar's created. So we're going to hit the back button here and go back. And then you'll notice right here, birthdays is the new calendar that's created, and it is the only one that is currently checked. And we can change the color on that calendar if we want. Let's just change it to that color. And we'll just go on. All right. So as you can see, I kind of glitched out there for a second. The calendar that I just created kind of disappeared. All I really had to do was hit the refresh button and it popped back up. So if you run into that same situation, that's what happened there. It just needed to be refreshed on the page. So now that we have our calendar set up down here, that's the calendar that we're working with, we are going to start adding dates to it. And let's say that the 9th is someone's birthday, okay? And in my case, so we will click create. We're going to create an event. And you notice it just kind of pops up down here in the middle of the day, sets a time on it, does all of that for you, but we're gonna adjust all of that. Now here's the way it works best for me. And you can do whatever you want, but because this is going to repeat annually on this day, I sometimes forget how old the individual is or what year they were born. So my hack is I simply put in, the name, and then in parentheses, I put in the year they were born, right? So we'll just go like that. So this creates an event titled John Doe's, oops, I forgot to put birthday in there. Birthday, there we go. John Doe's birthday, and then in parentheses, 1972. And that tells me when this individual was born so that I can kind of pay attention. Oh, this year is an important birthday for John Doe, right? 1972, that means he's turning 50 this year. And so that helps me at a glance kind of tell if it's an important year, a milestone year, if you will. All right, so then we go down here, and on the date and time, I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Date is correct, right? But I want this to be an all-day event. There's not a specific time in the day that he's having his birthday. So I'm showing it as an all-day event. And as you can probably guess, this next piece right here does not repeat. That's what we're going to change. We're going to click on this, and we're going to say annually on March 9th. So now, John Doe's birthday is going to show up annually on our calendar every year until we delete it and tell it to stop. Every year, John Doe is going to be on our calendar on March 9th with a birthday. And in parentheses, it's always going to say 1972, so we can always calculate the birthday or the age at that point. Now, the only other thing that we need to do is navigate down here to the More Options section and click that. Because inside here, this is where we're going to add our notifications. Right here, see the little bell? Add notification. And now this is where you can get really creative because there are all kinds of notifications you can do. We have the ability to send a notification or a pop-up on the calendar itself. So if the calendar is open, it'll pop up and tell you. If you use Google Calendar on your phone or you have it attached to another calendar service like in your iPhone, the native calendar service in there, it will pop up and notify you through that service. You can set an email where it's going to send you an email to remind you of this event. So in this case, I'm going to say email, and I want you to send me an email, let's say 1 week before the event at whatever time, at 9 a.m. Okay, that's when I'm doing my morning planning, let's say. So at 9 a.m., 1 week before the event, I'm going to get a notification. And that can serve as all kinds of things. That can be a trigger for me to remember to put it in my planner that I need to get a birthday gift or a card in the mail, whatever it is. If you think you need more lead time than 1 week, we'll change that. Change it to 2 weeks. 2 weeks before at 9 a.m. or whatever time, right? Here's the beauty. You can actually add multiple notifications. So if you want to start with an email 2 weeks before the event, and then you want another email 1 week before the event. So now you've got 2 emails starting 2 weeks before the event. And then let's say the day before you want it to pop up a notification. So one day before, right? And then let's say you want a notification on the day. Set it up like that, right? So you can have multiple notifications coming to you in multiple different ways to remind you of this event. So there is no reason that you should not remember John Doe's birthday. And so that's really all you have to do there. And then you come up here and you click save. And when you click save, that's set right there for starting now. Okay, now it's popping up and asking me if I want to get better notifications. It needs permissions to display them on the browser. You can choose continue. For me right now, this is not my main calendar. As you can see, I'm in an incognito mode. I don't want those notifications popping up for this calendar. This is just a demo calendar, but you may want to have that done. So just a real quick to show you here, we can jump ahead to March of 2023. Whoop, went past it. March of 2023, and on this week, look, John Doe's birthday pops up, and if you click on it, you'll see 1972. 1972 is when he was born, so we know from there we can calculate how old he is. And look at this. We've got all of our notifications showing up here too. So next year, 2 weeks before John Doe's birthday, we're going to get an email. 1 week before, we're going to get an email. And then the day before at 9 o'clock, it's going to pop up with a notification either on our phone or on our browser or whatever we have set up. And then on the same day at 9 a.m., it's going to pop up and remind us. So there is no reason that we should forget John Doe's birthday. Now, if your birthday calendar gets too clunky for you and you don't want to use it in your normal everyday calendar, just again, tick that little box and the birthdays go away. You don't have to see them on there. To show them again, click on it again. That's all you have to do. All right. So if you have a hack that is similar to this, or you use this hack, let me know in the description below. I'm always interested to see if people have figured out hacks and kind of go about them the same way that I do. All right. Hopefully this helps you. You know what? Before I go, let's not forget, I do have a freebie that I'm giving away. And if you're in the leadership world, this would be a great one for you. It's all about communication and how to communicate. So I'm going to leave the link underneath the video here, or simply go to benribble.com/communicate and you'll find the ability to download this great and power-packed ebook.